A very warm welcome to all of you. Myself, Professor Nagaraj from KG Somaya College, Koparagaon. In today's lecture, we are going to take some new concepts from the chapter Nuclear Chemistry. The topics which we are going to cover in this lecture are general characteristics of radioactive decay. Second one is units of radioactivity, and the third one is natural radioactivity and group displacement law. So these are three important topics we are going to cover in this lecture. Before starting the actual lecture, please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon in order to get the notification for upcoming lectures. So let's start this lecture. First point we are going to discuss is general characteristics of radioactive decay. In the last lecture, we studied what is meant by radioactivity, what are the types of the radioactivity, and the other aspects regarding the radioactivity. Now, as far as this radioactive decay is to be considered, in radioactivity, the parent nucleus get converted into daughter nucleus on emission of radiation. We know very well the radioactivity phenomena in which the parent nucleus is converted into the daughter nucleus on the emission of radiation along with some particles. So this type of the process of conversion of parent into the daughter is called as the radioactive decay. This phenomena is called as the radioactive decay. Now, what are the general characteristics of this radioactive decay? This is our aim. The radioactive decay have following characteristics. These characteristics are mainly applied to natural radioactivity. Whenever we consider the natural radioactivity, at that time these characteristics are to be taken into consideration. So let's look towards these characteristics. The first important characteristics of radioactive decay is loss of mass. In radioactive decay, mass of parent is always higher than daughter nucleus. In radioactive decay, what happens? We have to take the parent nucleus is such that whose mass is always higher than that of the daughter nucleus. This decay proceeds with loss of mass. Whenever a parent is converted into the daughter, always there is a loss of mass is to be takes place. The lost mass appears as energy according to the Einstein equation. Now the question arises where this lost mass get. So this lost mass is reappears as energy according to the equation of Einstein, that is E equal to mc square. The liberated energy is associated with emitted particle and daughter nucleus. The energy which is liberated in the conversion of parent into daughter is associated with the emitted particle as well as with the daughter nucleus. So this is the first important characteristics of radioactive decay. The second important characteristics of radioactive decay is range and specific ionization of emitted particles. In the radioactive decay, the radiations emitted by radioactive nuclei are highly energetic. These radiations are capable to penetrate the matter. We know very well that in the radioactive decay, always parent is converted into the daughter along with the emission of the highly energetic particles. These particles or radiations are capable to penetrate the matter. The depth of penetration of this radiation depends on density of the matter. Up to which distance this radiation get penetrate in a particular matter, it depends upon the density of the matter. The distance covered by radiations in matter, say air, is called their ranges. So up to which distance they get penetrate in a particular matter, if we take here for example air medium, then that type of the distance covered by radiations is called as their ranges. Now if we compare the relative ranges of alpha particle, beta particle and gamma rays, then the following type of the order is obtained. The range value of these gamma radiations is very much higher than that of the range of the beta particles, while the range of the beta particles is very much higher than that of the range of the alpha particles. So in a short we can say that the gamma radiations are capable to penetrate in a particular matter up to the longer distance as compared to beta particle as well as the alpha particle. The emitted particles lose their energy through ionization of molecules of the medium. Whenever the particles get emitted in a particular conversion of parent into the daughter, that particles are highly energetic, so that are capable to ionize a particular medium. How they ionize the medium? The molecules present in the medium get ionized with the help of this type of the highly energetic particles. The number of ion pairs per unit distance the emitted particles covers in the medium is called as specific ionization. Now, what is by specific ionization? What are the number of ion pairs per unit distance the given particles covers in a medium? In a given medium, if we take the per unit distance, in that per unit distance, what are the number of ion pairs? So that is called as the specific ionization of the particular particle. Now, the ionizing power of alpha particle, beta particle and gamma radiations is in the order of the ionizing power of alpha particle is very much higher than that of the beta particle, while the ionizing power of beta particle is very much higher than that of the gamma rays. So these are the two important characteristics of radioactive decay. One is called as the ranges of the particles and the second one is called as the specific ionization of the emitted particles. The third important characteristic is called as the nature of path. Whenever these particles get emitted in the conversion of parent into daughter, what type of the path they can obtain? So that is a third important characteristics. The alpha particles, when traveling through air, they follow the straight line path. Due to massive on collisions with gas molecules, they does not get scattered. So whenever alpha particles are emitted from the conversion of parent into daughter, suppose if the medium is an air medium, then what happens? These alpha particles follows a straight line path. Why they follow the straight line path? Because they are the massive particles. We know very well that alpha particle is nothing but the helium nuclei with a mass number equal to 4. So they are called as the massive particles. So whenever these massive particles, that is alpha particles, undergo collision with the gas molecules, they does not get scattered. The beta particles, however, follows zigzag path. Being light, they easily undergo scattering on collisions with gas molecules. If we compare this alpha particle to that of the beta particle, among these two, beta particle is light in a weight and that's why it follow the zigzag path. So it undergo collision with a particular gaseous molecules and that's why it undergo the scattering phenomena. So this is the third important characteristics of the radioactive decay. The fourth important characteristics is called as the physical and chemical changes. The emitted particles can break the bonds in the molecule of medium to form free radicals which can initiate chemical reactions. We know very well that these emitted particles are capable to break the bonds in the molecules of the medium to form free radicals. Whenever they break the bonds in the molecules from the medium, they form the free radicals and these free radicals are capable to initiate some type of the chemical reactions. The emitted particles produce some physical changes in the molecules of the medium. Along with the chemical changes, these emitted particles are also produce some physical changes also in the molecules of the medium, and this is a fourth important characteristics of the radioactive decay. Now after studying these general characteristics of radioactive decay, next we are going to study unit of radioactivity, how this radioactivity is expressed. The activity of 1 gram of radium is taken as the unit of radioactivity, which is called as Curie. This Curie is the unit for this radioactivity, and this Curie is nothing but the activity of 1 gram of radium we have to take into consideration. So 1 Curie is equal to 3.7 into 10 to the power 10 disintegration per second. Any sample that gives 3.7 into 10 to the power 10 disintegration per second is said to have an activity of 1 Curie. The other units of this radioactivity are millicurie, microcurie, kilocurie and million curie. So these are the different units for this radioactivity. The SI unit for radioactivity is becquerel with the symbol BQ. This is the SI unit for the radioactivity. The activity corresponding to 1 disintegration per second is called 1 becquerel. Whenever we consider the activity with 1 disintegration per second, then it is called as the 1 becquerel. So 1 curie is equal to 3.7 into 10 to the power 10 becquerel. So these are the various types of the units for radioactivity. One is a curie, this is a millicurie, microcurie, kilocurie and million curie, and the next one is the SI unit, that is a becquerel. Next important point is natural radioactivity and radioactive series. In natural radioactivity, the parent decay into daughter. If daughter is again radioactive, it get further decay into another daughter. It get continue until a non-radioactive daughter is obtained. So in this way, a radioactive series is obtained. Whenever we consider the natural radioactivity phenomena, then what happens in natural radioactivity? A parent decay into the another daughter. Then this daughter, if it is a radioactive in nature, then that daughter again get converted into the next daughter. So we can say that this type of the conversion of parent into daughter, again daughter into the next daughter with emission of the some particles along with the radiations is continue unless we get a non-radioactive daughter nuclei. So in this way we get a series, and that series is called as the radioactive series. There are 3 radioactive series as shown below. The 3 important radioactive series is here. Name of the series. These 3 series are uranium series, thorium series, and next one is the actinium series. Now, the starting element for these 3 series are common. They are the uranium nuclei, but they are the isotopes of the uranium. In the first series, we have to use here uranium isotope mass number 238. For second series, you have to use the isotope of uranium with a mass number 232, and for third one we have to use the isotope of uranium with mass number 235. For all these 3 series, the end product is a lead nuclei. Again, these are the isotopes of the lead. For first uranium series, end product is a lead with atomic mass number 206. For second series, end product is a lead. Again, the mass number is a 208, and for third series, actinium series, the end product is lead nuclei with a mass number 207. Now, these 3 series are represented by the general formula. First series is represented by 4m plus 2, second one by 4n, and third one is by 4m plus 3. So, these are the 3 different radioactive series. Among these 3 different series, all the elements, that is radioactive nuclei which are obtained in nature belongs to any one of these 3 series. The next important point is a Rutherford and Sudi's group displacement law. The elements in periodic table was arranged initially on the basis of increasing atomic weights. Now, in the ancient time, in the periodic table, the elements are arranged on the basis of increasing atomic weights. This is the basis of the arrangement of these elements. But in case of isotopes of elements, their positions are different as they have same atomic number but different mass number. The question arises how to assign the positions for the isotopes, because they have the same atomic number but different mass number. Then in this case of isotopes, how to assign the positions for these particular isotopes? So this is a question. In order to decide the position of isotopes in a periodic table, the group displacement law is useful. So in order to assign the position for the isotopes in the periodic table, one law is useful. That law was given by the scientists Rutherford and Sudis, which is called as the group displacement law, or it may be called as the Rutherford and Sudis group displacement law. Now, what is the statement for this law? The daughter form on alpha emission, that is in radioactive nuclei, the parent get converted into daughter. So the daughter form on alpha emission is displaced 2 places or 2 groups to the left of the parent in the periodic table. Whenever in a radioactive decay the alpha emission is there, then the daughter form in such a way that it acquire a position 2 places or groups left to the parent in the periodic table, or we can say that its atomic number get decreased by the 2 units. The daughter form on beta emission is displaced 1 place to the right of parent in the periodic table. Whenever a beta radiation is emitted by a particular parent nuclei, then the daughter is formed in such a way that it acquire 1 position to the right of the parent, or we can say that its atomic number get increased by the 1 unit. While on positron emission by parent, the daughter form is displaced 1 place to the left of the parent. Whenever this type of the positron emission is there, then the daughter form acquire one place to the left of the parent nuclei, or its atomic number get decreased by the 1 unit. So this is a statement for group displacement law, or it may be called as the Rutherford and Suddy's group displacement law. So in this current lecture, we focus on the different important points from nuclear chemistry. First one is what is meant by radioactive decay, what are the characteristics of radioactive decay, what are the units of radioactivity, and the next one is radioactive series, and last one is a group displacement law. So these points we cover in this lecture. The remaining points from this chapter we will cover in a next lecture. So with this I stop here. Thank you so much.